A police officer in Aurora is recovering after being stabbed in the head several times. An update on how he's doing in the latest on the investigation this morning.
Thousands of people here in Colorado expected to go without their SNAP benefits at the end of the month. We'll take a look at how local food banks are preparing.
And let's take a live look to outer space right now. Right? It's fascinating. The Artemis II crew is getting ready to land back on Earth later this evening, concluding one of the most historic space missions in modern history. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Drew Carney. Brianna will have our first look at traffic here in just a moment. Remember this from the other day? Brianna will have a look at traffic in just a moment. Yes, but first we turn to the left, to the south, talking about that Friday forecast.
You guys, Friday, happy Friday to everybody. You've made it through the week. It's going to be the chance for showers.
Okay.
We did see some sprinkles yesterday, but I want to take you through because more moisture will stream into the mountains, especially for tomorrow. It could interrupt some plans for Saturday afternoon, but it's great. We are tracking a little bit of that precipitation here across the state, which we desperately need. This morning, it's partly cloudy. This ridge of high pressure moving a little bit further off to our east of the next couple of days. What we're really looking for is Tuesday, so we'll start to see more of that cool air and moisture streaming back into Colorado. Our 3-day forecast. Today, tomorrow, scattered, brief showers. No severe weather, a storm chance here and there, but it will be very isolated. In and around Denver, a 30% possibility. Warming for tomorrow and Sunday. It'll dry out statewide. And this is our rainfall forecast over the next 72 hours. Not much. We're not really expecting to see any measurable rainfall here in Denver, but into the mountains, we are watching the chance for a little bit of snow, especially above 10,000 feet throughout the day tomorrow. Getting out the door, though, it's cool, 40s to start. It's going to stay mostly cloudy for today, a touch cooler this afternoon, 60s for highs. We did have a front roll in over the eastern plains, and that will bring our temperatures only to the low 50s from Burlington up through Sterling. Now, temperature-wise today, a little bit above average. There's that chance for picking up a shower or two. I'll break down the high country forecast and just Tuesday's storm coming up in just a bit.
Katie, thank you so much. Happy Friday, everyone. It is 5:02 for your Friday morning, and we are taking a live look right now of I-25 and 23rd Avenue, where it is quiet in both directions, especially if you're heading near Empower Field, maybe taking 6th Avenue, Alameda, heading into the Lakewood area, taking 6th Avenue. No issues to report right now up and down our major interstates, so I-25, 225, and 270. So I want to give you a live look of our traffic maps as well, our drive times. If you are taking 6th Avenue, like I just mentioned, you have the green light there, no issues to report and no crashes to report. We also had some overnight construction happening near Highway 36 and I-25. That is no longer the case. Right now, southbound I-25 from 144th down to 76, you're only looking at an 8-minute drive. Corey?
Brianna, thank you. An Aurora police officer is expected to survive after being stabbed in the head several times. Police say the officer shot and killed the man who attacked him. This happened east of Cherry Creek State Park near Quincy and Parker yesterday afternoon. Police say officers tried to de-escalate the situation for nearly half an hour before the suspect came out of his home running with a knife. Police say he charged at a K-9 officer on scene, and the suspect stabbed him in the head multiple times before the officer ended up shooting him.
The officer who was getting stabbed in the head aggressively, repeatedly, and tragically fired his weapon, struck the suspect.
The officer's K-9 also suffered minor injuries but is expected to be okay. Investigators say the suspect had a known history of mental health problems.
A district attorney found that Broomfield police were justified when they shot and killed a man last summer. This happened last June outside the nonprofit A Precious Child. Broomfield police say a man who worked there, Scott Hansen, was threatening to hurt himself. Documents from the investigation say that after hours of negotiations, Hansen pointed a revolver at police officers, and that's when 3 Broomfield officers shot and killed him. Again, the district attorney found the officers were justified and will not file charges.
The man charged with starting that massive apartment complex fire in Denver will now have to undergo a competency evaluation. Tony Becerra was arrested in connection with the January 2nd fire on Leedsdale Drive. That was an apartment complex that was under construction. He is now charged with burglary and arson for the massive fire that took days to fully extinguish. Police say they tracked him down using surveillance video. A judge has now ordered Becerra to be evaluated for his mental health. He is due back in court on May 14th.
We're learning more about a crash at the Denver airport involving a United Airlines flight and 2 de-icing trucks. This crash happened on a snowy morning last month involving a plane that was headed to Nashville. According to a report from the NTSB, the flight crew was talking during the de-icing process. The first officer said they heard the de-ice team communicate their post-de-ice briefing, but the captain wasn't sure if the clearance was for their flight. The flight crew told investigators that the first officer read back details and said all de-ice vehicles were behind the clearance lines. The flight crew then got the go-ahead to taxi from traffic control, and that's when the plane hit those two de-icing trucks. At that point, the report says, they were told they were not cleared to get off the de-ice pad. One of the de-icing employees suffered minor injuries. No one else was hurt. The plane, meanwhile, had some substantial damage, and the passengers were taken to Nashville on another plane.
Just as one city gets rid of Flock, another is expanding it. Commerce City has now decided to expand its surveillance contract with Flock. Yesterday, Commerce City showcased its real-time crime center. It gives officers remote visibility across the city using 3 Flock technologies: license plate readers, drones, and ShotSpotter gunshot detection devices. City officials say it's working, so much so City Council just approved another $4.5 million contract with Flock over the next 5 years to expand resources. It passed just a week after Denver chose to ditch its relationship with Flock.
I'm proud of the fact that we have a staff in place that's identified what is the best tool for us to use. And if that tool happens to be products that are provided by Flock that allow us to best serve our community, then Flock is the vendor that we will use. I also want to note, though, that
Commerce City says they do not allow for Flock to share any of their data. Denver, meanwhile, just approved a contract to replace Flock with cameras made by Axon.
Starting May 1st, most non-citizens here in Colorado will no longer be eligible for SNAP benefits as the state falls in line with President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. Arapahoe County will be more impacted than any other county in the state, with more than 2,900 non-citizens losing coverage. April benefits will be paid out as expected, but next month, those people will find nothing on their EBT cards. The Aurora Interfaith Food Pantry, which has served the hungry for 58 years, says it already expects a big surge on day one. The pantry has served more than 35,000 people just last year and says demand has continued to grow.
So we are absolutely predicting an immediate influx on the first day in May that there's not coverage.
Not all non-citizens will lose benefits. Legal permanent residents and Cuban and Haitian entrants are among those who will remain eligible.
The city of Thornton, North Glen, says it cannot come to an agreement with the state on the operation of a mental health facility. This is for 2 buildings on Grant Drive that house people leaving state mental health hospitals and are working toward living independently again. For 2 years, the city and residents have expressed concerns about the safety of that facility. And then last night, the city announced it could not reach an agreement on a memorandum of understanding with the Colorado Department of Human Services. We reached out to CDHS to hear their side of things. We're still waiting to hear back.
Colorado's second highest court is upholding the state's right to restrict local governments from working with ICE. This legal battle started back in 2024 when a handful of counties and their sheriffs sued to challenge a state law prohibiting local law enforcement from detaining someone based solely on their immigration status. They argued federal law overruled state law and Colorado couldn't stop them from voluntarily cooperating with ICE. A district court sided with the state in 2024. Douglas County appealed, again arguing that the state legislature can't interfere with the county's local authority to cooperate with ICE. Yesterday, the state appeals court said, quote, "The county is mistaken."
The ceasefire with Iran is hanging by a thread as Tehran pauses oil traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran claims Israel's attacks in southern Lebanon earlier this week violates the ceasefire, but the U.S. disagrees. Yesterday, President Trump told NBC News Israel is going to scale back the attacks, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now saying they will continue to strike Hezbollah. He's asking for direct talks with the Lebanese government. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance will lead a U.S. delegation in Pakistan this weekend on talks for a lasting end to the war.
Iran to not be able to make a nuclear weapon. We want the nuclear fuel, which is something the president has made very clear.
In a True Social post, President Trump said it was agreed upon a long time ago that the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe, but very few ships have passed through the waterway.
Prices at the pump going up again as the flow of oil through the strait stalls. Crude prices are around $100 a barrel again, and the average price of gas across the country sits at $4.17. That's according to AAA. Declines in global stocks and U.S. pre-market trading suggest investors may be wary at this point. With the 2-week U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal on shaky ground, a lot of ship owners say they're not ready to test it again in that critical Strait of Hormuz.